When we go back to our innate nature, we find that we are after certain things. There are certain things that every human being desires, and there are certain things that every human being resents. One of the things that all human beings desire, and again, regardless of gender, regardless of the society in which they live, regardless of upbringing, regardless of all of these external factors that affect a human being, one of the things that every one of us desires is freedom. Take any human being from any culture, from any part of the world, and ask him, ask her, do you prefer to live in a state of freedom, or do you prefer to live in a state of slavery or imprisonment? Not a single human being can put their hand on their heart and say, I prefer enslavement over freedom, or I prefer imprisonment over freedom. Freedom is something all human beings desire. It's in our nature to desire that. Allah created us this way. The modern world speaks a lot about freedom. The modern world speaks a lot about freedom. It's a sacred concept today, and indeed it is something sacred. Ayatollah Shaheed Murtada Matahari, may Allah's mercy be upon him, has a beautiful discussion about the topic of freedom. And he says that when the world today speaks about freedom, they speak about freedom on the social level. When people speak about freedom, it's normally to do with what? With social freedom, right? That human beings can live freely in society. That's what the discussion is about. However, Islam, with its extremely profound understanding of what the human being is, which differs from the materialistic worldview completely, presents a very deep understanding of freedom. Does Islam want mankind to have social freedom? Absolutely. Absolutely. You find when you look in the Quran, prophets were sent to free nations from slavery. The prophet mentioned more than any other prophet in the Quran is Prophet Musa alayhi salam, who was told by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, go to the Pharaoh and free the children of Israel. Free the Bani Israel. So without a shadow of a doubt, Islam wants mankind to enjoy social freedom. However, Islam is built on a very deep understanding, a very profound understanding of the human being. There is another kind of freedom which is completely neglected, and that is what Shaheed Murtada Matahri rahmatullah alayh names as spiritual freedom. What is spiritual freedom? What is spiritual freedom? Social freedom refers to the state of human beings not being imprisoned by other human beings. Spiritual freedom is the state of the human being not being imprisoned by his own self. Spiritual freedom is that a human being is free from his own self. How is that possible? How is it possible that I be imprisoned by my own self? It's related that Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam stated the following. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created angels and gave them intellect without desire. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created animals and gave them desire without intellect. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the human being and gave him both desire and intellect. In other words, the human being is a being which is a mix of that which is heavenly and that which is earthly, that which is angelic and that which is animalistic, that which pertains to the higher realms and that which pertains to this lower realm. And it's related, the Imam continues, and therefore, because of this reality, when a human being's intellect overcomes his desires, that human being becomes higher than any angel. But if a human being's desires overpower their intellect, that human being sinks to a level lower than any animal. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, أُولَٰئِكَ كَالْأَنْعَامِ بَلْ هُمْ أَضَلُّ. It is they who are like animals. No, they are more further astray than animals. Which animal do you know that until now has designed an atom bomb? Which animal is guilty of that? But the human being did that. And didn't only design it, he used it. Why? Because this is intellect in the service of desire. Therefore, these two elements are continuously at war within ourselves. If that higher self overcomes that lower self, frees itself from that lower self, that human being is a spiritually free human being. That human being is someone who lives freely and who dies freely. But if the desires, the lower self, the animal self, continues to rule and govern the intellect, that human being is a slave, even if his body looks free. One of the most important aims of Islam is to free you from your own self. Al-Shaykh Murtada Mutahhari rahmatullah alayhi mentions the point that فَاقِدُ الشَّيْء لَا يُعْطِيهِ. If you are thirsty and I say, I will give you water, but I don't have any water to give you, can I give you water? Even if I want to. If I say to you, I will give you a car, but I don't own a car, I don't have a car myself, can I give that to you? Of course not. If you don't have something, you can't give it. If you don't have knowledge, you can't give knowledge. So Shaykh Murtada Mutahhari is saying beautifully in that discussion, don't expect people who don't have freedom, who are imprisoned by their own selves, to be able to give freedom to other people and nations and society. The only person who can give social freedom to human beings is a person who has freed his own self from himself. Otherwise, the freedom that they claim they are giving human beings is nothing but a deception. And we're seeing that today. We're seeing that today. The word freedom is used to imprison, to enslave, to murder, to commit the worst atrocities. Because the people who are meant to be giving the freedom are slaves of their own selves. Therefore, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has appointed the messengers, the prophets, and the A'imma alayhimus salam as the rulers of mankind, as the political rulers of mankind. We have this in the blessed Ziyarat al-Jami'a al-Kabira, related from Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam, in which the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam are described as what? As Sasatul Ibad, the political leaders of mankind. Because only someone who himself is free can give you freedom. Only someone who himself has freedom can free you and help you to become free.